Yo, yo, yo. We are back. Let's see here. Let me check the browser here. Yeah, I'll just wait for people to trickle back in. Sorry about that. I think I got everything taken care of now. I had complication after complication after complication, so I had to log off and get all that taken care of. Um, until we get a few more people in here, I'll just leave you with some Twitter posts that I made recently that I think are really important. Let's see if I can log back in here, and then I'll switch back to my Facebook, and then we'll start going again. Cool. People are submitting beats again. And I believe we left off on David Treasure's third beat, Rules and Laws. Here's a few Twitter quotes that I posted in the middle of the night last night. Sounds like everyone plans to step up their game in 2020. Kudos to them, but the ones who took advantage of 2019, you know who you are likely to come out on top. But stop waiting, start now. Even if 2020 isn't your year, maybe the next year will be. Really up to you. Let's see, what else do I got here? I posted like 3 different things all at the same time. Oh, I'm about to hit 100 followers too. We're at 99 right now. Yeah, I really didn't take Twitter too seriously until recently, really, like a couple months ago. And another thing that I don't really do on, what's up, Alexi? Another thing that I don't really do on my platforms is the whole follow for follow thing. Like, I don't want anyone following me if they don't really want to follow me. And I'm not going to follow anyone back. It's especially bad with YouTube, the whole sub for sub thing. That's like the worst thing that you could do. So now you'll have like hundreds or thousands of subs that are ignoring all of your notifications, not watching any of your videos, and that makes YouTube think, wow, your subs don't even like your videos. Why would we show your videos to anyone else? So yeah, every single person that did that screwed themselves over. Here's another one. Just logic based on population and statistics. At all times, the majority of talent in the world isn't well known. They are just chilling on Twitter, IG, YouTube, Facebook, living normal lives, developing their skills behind closed doors long before anyone discovers who they are. I think we witness that almost every stream. Why do you have like only 20 follows on Insta? Because I don't follow anyone just because they're a celebrity, so that automatically eliminates a ton of people. I also only follow people that I'm truly interested in, and I only follow people that actually consistently post to their Instagram account. So if it's a dead account, then there's no point of me following them. I did follow 2 accounts recently that are brand new, so they haven't posted anything yet, and that's just because I plan on working with them, and they're just getting started. So it's not, your following has nothing to do with whether or not I decide if I follow you or not. It's totally irrelevant. So you could have 0 followers. It's all about your talent. So if you're talented at what you do, I follow you. So Simo, yeah, you're one of them. It has nothing to do with how popular you are. Let's see here. Yep, and here's one more quote that I want to leave you with. Another one that I posted last night. Usual advice for producers to get placements is to find artists that are on the come up. My advice is, if you're actually good at producing, find an artist and create that come up in the first place. And once again, that's totally what I feel like everyone in my community in particular is doing. So looks like we have quite a few people back right now. Let me check my Facebook and get back on there. I am expecting one more phone call before this is all said and done. Hold on. No, this is the wrong one. This is the old one. But hopefully that one will be really brief. Yeah, let me refresh this. There we go. There's the new one. All right. So now we have everything back to normal. Yeah, we'll get back started. David Treasure is back, so we'll go right into his third track here. For a second, I didn't think I had audio. It's a really rumbly bass. Yeah, I would say maybe switch out that bass. I'm not quite sure. I feel like it's missing a lot of punch. It's really rumbly. Simo says, dumb shipping people were sending my computer to another house. It was supposed to arrive today, and now it's going to arrive either today or either tomorrow or Monday. That sucks. What kind of computer did you end up getting? I like the portamento slides that you have going on. Yeah, that's really all I would really change about this one. Just a different bass, because it sounds like a realistic bass would sound really good on that track for sure. Instead of an 808, and I think that's kind of what you were going for, because it didn't sound like an 808. It sounded more like, you know, your more traditional bass with a traditional bass line. So yeah, I would think a realistic sounding bass would sound really good on that track, and that's usually the case for that genre anyway, to be completely honest. Like a lot of times a really good plugin for that is Trillion. I don't have Trillion, but the basses that I've heard in Trillion, those work really, really well, because they use a lot of realistic basses inside of Trillion. Something you might want to check out. I think that's a pretty expensive plugin. When it comes to Spectrasonics, a lot of their plugins are expensive. Spectrasonics is the company that makes Omnisphere and Keyscape and Trillion. So, but in terms of bass lines, I feel like a lot of this genre is really heavy on those realistic sounding bass lines for sure. And David says, funny, I was going to change the bass. Yeah, I think that's really all that track really needs, just a different bass. Simo says it's a Dell computer, super cool for its price. It was around 800, 8th gen i7, 8 gigs of RAM. I don't remember if it's a 1 terabyte or a 2 terabyte hard drive. That's dope. That's dope. Yeah, that crushes my computer right now for sure. But like, I want something, I'm going to spend like twice that actually and get the best laptop that I could possibly get right now. That will allow me to completely eliminate the computer that I have now and use that laptop, not just for music production, but for video production too. So, Simha says, best bass plugin is 3X Oscillator. Change my mind. Yeah, there's a preset, the Hip Hop Bass 3. That sounds really, really close to a realistic bass line. They do a good job on that preset. Raphael says, get a razor blade. Yeah, for the bang for your buck, you're better off just building configuring your own laptop through HP, which is what I'm doing. You could actually get better processors, more memory, stuff like that, compared to the Razer Blade. But in terms of like buying a computer as is, those are some of the best ones for sure, Razer Blades. But I have heard complaints about them too. But yeah, I'm just going to go with an HP that I kind of build from the ground up. Simo says it would help you a lot for the lag that you have on your videos now. Yeah, the laptop will have a built-in camera. The camera right now that I have is crazy. If you're also referring to the lag on the keys when I play, yeah, it'll definitely help a lot with that too, because I'll be able to have a lower buffer rate and not worry about pops and cracks and stuff like that. Simo says, I think there's way better options than Razer for the same price. You're paying for the brand instead of the actual computer. Yeah, there is a lot of that going on with the Razer products, but they are pretty solid for just buying a computer outright without, really configuring it. But yeah. Yeah, and actually, at the one that I configured is hundreds of dollars less than the top, or not the top Razer, but the Razer that I would compare it to with better specs. But yeah, still not a bad computer though. Far from being bad. Yeah, let's go on to Raphael's beat. Fifth beat, still struggling with FL Studio, but I feel I'm getting there. Yeah, MSI was the other one that I was going to mention in terms of just buying a computer outright. Always love your compositions, Raphael. David the Treasure says, my 3X oscillator has no presets. Go into, I'll show you where to find the presets. Yeah. So what do you feel you're struggling the most with in FL Studio? And that goes for anyone. That's just a general question for anyone. MCOG, I'm glad you came back. Yeah, love the composition. I obviously don't have to say anything about the mixing. The mixing is on point. Really, that should be the other way around. Obviously, I don't have to say anything about the composition, and the mixing is on point. There was one thing that I would change about the mixing, which I think might not be a good thing. Maybe turn up that bass just a little bit, but the vibe of the track, I feel like that's a good level for the bass. So, but I'm just pointing that out because I think other people listening to this track might say that bass is really low. But I constantly tell people, by the time the mix engineer gets their hands on the track, and by the time you start adding things like vocals and whatnot, most of the basses that you're hearing in these producer tracks, those are getting turned down quite a bit. Deco says mixing and getting the beat loud. I feel like that's a lot of people's main issue in any DAW for sure. Yeah, that's a good description right there, MCOG. The ebb and flow of the track. And that's due to the great arrangement and the composition. He has a lot of options in there for melodic elements, so it's easy for him to drop things out, layer sounds over layers. Everything is in its own pocket in terms of the frequency range, so they all complement each other. Simo says, we so can help you get FL Studio tips and tricks, I'm assuming. David Treasure says using Fruity Peak controller. He also says Fire Beat. Thai Master Chef. Not sure who that is. Welcome back, Samson. Good to have you back. Deco says, how you get your mix so loud. And Raphael says, I posted my setup and tips and tricks on the Discord. He sure did. He sure did. Go into the tips and tricks section and you'll see not only his mixing levels, but you'll also see how he balances his kick and 808. And feel free to watch episode 9 of the Beat Critiques where I go into detail about what he posted. Deco says, I think it's just time. The more time he has with FL, the more he'll get it. That's definitely the case for sure. Matthew BC Music, been producing and songwriting for 6 years. Had to stop playing guitar due to shoulder issues. But I got heavily into hip hop and trap. So let's check this out. Bass sounds really nice. Just got a comment on Reddit. I think I'm going to read this out to you guys. Or a question on Reddit. Cool ambient vibe. Snare needs to come up just a little bit. Maybe 2, maybe even 3 dB. And I think the reason being is because you have that snare layered in this section of the track, so that caused you to have that snare when it was soloed without this extra layer to be really low in volume. So the trick there would be to add volume automation to that section of the track where that snare isn't layered. So volume automate that snare when it's soloed without that layer and you'll be straight. Yeah, I really love this vibe. Raphael says the beat is fire as well. Just want a little more sparkle on those hats and that the open and closed hat. But I definitely appreciate how you made it realistic where the hat closes and opens. Yeah, that was a great track. I enjoyed that one very, very much. Cool vibes, cool vibes. This next one is from Nine Skies, aka that's you, Deco, right? Nine Skies. When I just started using FL, there weren't any tutorials out like that. Yeah, same here. Same here. This track is called Little Counts. Starts out really low in volume, but I'm going to let it fade in if it needs to fade in. Yeah, the melody is really low in volume. That snare needs to be a little more focused in the middle. Simo says, when I started, I didn't know enough English to be able to watch tutorials in the first place. And the Spanish ones are super bad. I wonder what the Spanish tutorials are like. I'm going to turn this up. Yeah, I think sound selection is an issue with the drums here. That piano playing that one single note, dun, dun, might want to do a little bit more melodic wise with the piano, and also add a little bit of release on those notes, because it's very choppy. So you hit it once and you let go and the sound stops. It needs a little bit of release on there. I like the counter melody that just came in. Sounds like the kick drum is from a actual drum kit, but it's not mixed in properly. But that goes back to sound selection. I would just switch out the drum hits altogether. But yeah, definitely looking for a little more melodic composition with the notes that you chose. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend staying on the same note with those piano hits. Maybe venture through the keys a little bit more. This one's called Cayenne.
Play this record as frequently as possible. Play this record as frequently as possible.
I feel like that ride is coming in a little too often. Yeah, I would save that ride for the end of the 8 bars here and have it played once. Can we send sample beats? You could send anything you want. You could just send a loop if you want, like this. This is 49 seconds long. And I always look forward to hearing full songs. I like the filter on that main melody, but it's a little resonant. I can't really point out which frequency it is. I want to guess it's somewhere around 3 to 5K, so somewhere around the 4K range.
Play this record as frequently as possible.
I like the synth bass, but I feel like it needs more weight in the sub range. So maybe a little EQ. It sounds like you might have some stereo separation on the synth bass overall. I don't recommend doing that. If you do add any type of stereo separation, you really want to do it on the high end or the mid range basically of the synth and keep that sub totally in mono, because I could hear it kind of phasing in and out, which makes it lose a lot of power. That kick is really, really round. It needs like a little bit of attack on the front end of it so it really hits. Which reminds me, we're about to go over Simo's Monotony kit. Deca says it's from the plugin. Is this from the Angelic Vibes plugin? Curious. Those kicks, something that I kind of pointed out in the tutorial, all those kicks sound a lot better when they're leveled up inside of the plugin. So it sounds like if it was from Angelic Vibes, you left the levels exactly where they're at. But yeah, just a little boost on those kicks inside of the plugin sound really good. He says no. What plugin were you using? We have a few messages in the tips and tricks. How can I sidechain the kick to the master channel? Let me just show you right now. Not that I recommend doing it, but I'll show you how to do it. Oh, it's purity? Gotcha. I don't know why this keeps adjusting itself. Oh, I always keep it. Always have to adjust my mixer. That's really annoying. Anyway, so here's my kick channel right here. All you have to do is just right click and click sidechain to this track. And now it's sidechained. So now on your master, if you're trying to duck your master every time you had the kick playing, you just load up Fruity Limiter, which I also don't recommend. I'll show you the other way. And right click the sidechain section and select kick. And then adjust your compression however you like it. The other way that you do it, let me delete that. You wouldn't worry about sidechaining this at all. You would just add Fruity Peak Controller onto your kick channel. Fruity Peak Controller. And if you're using an older version of FL Studio, click mute and unclick it. That way you'll still be able to hear your kick. And then right click your fader on your master channel, copy that, paste it here on the where it says BASE, the bass. Paste. And that will set this to exactly the level that this fader is on. Then right click that again, click link to controller, use the drop down menu and select peak control peak under your kick section. So this says Fruity Peak Controller kick, select peak control peak, hit accept, and now every time the kick plays, this will duck down. And just to prove that to you, I'll have the kick playing here, go to all, and we'll just do a 4 on the floor. So now the fader is moving, and to duck it down, just turn the volume down. And then you could shape this however you'd like. Another thing that I recommend doing, instead of using your kick, just copy the kick pattern and paste it into a sidechain pattern like I have right here. So you would copy this, paste it there, Control C, copy, Control V, paste, and then inside your sidechain, choose a really small drum hit. Right here I have a hi-hat, which you can't hear because I have it muted. But basically that is what you would do. I have my sidechain routed right around, right here. So if I were to unmute this, you would be able to hear it. I don't remember what I did to set it so that you can't hear it, but that is what you want. You don't want to be able to hear it. So now Let me mute the kick and my metronome. So now you see that this P controller is being triggered there. You would go into your fader on your master channel, right click, link to controller, and select the P controller that's on your sidechain track. Hit accept. And now it's being controlled by P controller on your sidechain track. On top of that, you would still do all the following steps or all the previous steps that I was talking about in terms of, creating the base level. Let me copy this one instead because it's back to where it originally was. And you would paste that there. And that just gives you a lot, you could see that these duckings are a lot cleaner than what we had on the kick. So it's just more control over your sidechain. Yep. It's not really moving too much. Let me turn up the volume in the hi-hat so it's more obvious. That's a little too much. This thing's going crazy. But this hi-hat has a lot of extra information. So go into the envelope and create an envelope like this. Another option that you would have, change that out knob. You could use a rim shot. I actually recommend using a rim shot instead of a hi-hat, but I have what I have here. Let me scroll back up. I missed a bunch of comments here. No, I didn't. Would you recommend getting the Elite Pianist? It's cheap and seems to be light. If my mixer isn't full, full screen, my brain starts to I hear ya. Yeah, the only reason I haven't bought it yet is because I haven't announced this yet, but I'm actually working with Angelic Vibes now. So I will have that plugin for free. So I'm just waiting until I do my Elite Pianist review, and yeah. So that's the only reason why I haven't gotten it yet. Let's see. We had some more questions in there. Oh crap! Pressing the wrong thing. Internet, where are you? Possibly okay. Why sidechain to the master? Yeah, that's my point. I'm assuming he wants the kick to stand out more. Just route every sound you want to it. Blah blah blah. Yeah, it's just people questioning the whole sidechain to the master thing. Where was I about to go? Let me take a look at the critiques again. I think we have some more submissions, and sure enough, we do. We have quite a few more. So I'm going to try and get through these real quick, and then we're going to review if you go into the self-promo section, you'll see here at the top, Simo's Monotony Kit. So we're going to make a drum pattern out of that, and then we're just going to review some of the sounds. Beat critiques. Let me check this general section too. Okay. Yeah. All right, beat critiques. Tighten up. I'm really surprised to see this many people in here after ending the stream earlier. This is really, really bright. Let me turn this down. I had my volume all the way up from that last track, so that was my fault. I love these guitars. The bass is in key. Fits the track really well. It's It's one of those more lively basses where it sounds more like a realistic bass. Raphael says, just bought Output Arcade. It's $10 a month and you get access to all the libraries. That plugin is so underrated right now. Not enough people use it. Simo says, that's super cool. I hope to get it at some point. Yeah, how much is Arcade total? Yeah, this track's fire. And these guitars are sick. Where are you getting these guitars from? Yeah, Raphael loves this beat too. Deco says beat solid, man. You know what I could hear? I could hear like a shaker coming in. Because you had the hi-hats on the left. If you had a shaker just going... That'd be fire too, on the right side. Yeah. Love that track, man. Good sound selection. Yeah. And it sounded really bright when I had the volume turned all the way up. So that's probably going to keep people from turning up your tracks. So that being said, a lot of people will always tell you how important it is to cut the low end out of, unnecessary low end out of tracks. Same goes for high end too, especially when it comes to hi-hats and rides and stuff like that. I see a lot of people will boost the high end on the rides and the hi-hats and stuff like that. Those are already really bright. So really you actually want to do the opposite, or not the opposite. Anytime you do boost the high end on those type of instruments, you also want to cut out some of the high end too. I typically cut out anywhere from down to 17K, sometimes even down to 15K, sometimes even down to 13K, depending on the sound, when it comes to hi-hats and stuff like that. But there was something else I wanted to say about that too. Yeah, just make sure you don't have too much high-end on those, on elements that already have a lot of high-end naturally. MCOG, live guitars, dope, dope, dope. Do me a favor and follow me on IG and I'll follow you back, and I'm definitely gonna hook up with you for some live guitars here in the future for sure. And I have some artists that would love to work with you. So yeah, hit me up on IG. Simo says, the only issue I have with this is how bright the beep sound is. The beep sound. I'm not sure what sound you're referring to. Deco says fax shaker would be nice as well. MCOG, a bit too loud for sure. Gotta be more considerate of the top end as well. I'll try 17K, 15K, and 13K notch subtractive EQ. That is what actually, you took the words right out of my mouth. So, you want to play around with the different filter types. So you don't necessarily want to do like a total high pass or anything like that. Sometimes I do, but typically, and this works for low end too, you'll be surprised how much a notch in those areas work really, really well, including the low end, like a notch filter around 20, and then you just widen that notch so that it almost looks like you're using a high cut or a high pass filter or a low cut. Yeah, that's a trick that I learned from I don't remember his name, but he did a side-by-side comparison of using a low cut with the same low-end frequencies versus a notch filter with the same frequencies, and man, it was like night and day. Like the bass just was so much tighter and still sounded full. It was dope. It's a dope little trick. Simo's talking about the weird beep bell or something. Yeah, I didn't catch it. MCOG, recovering from my second soldier. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you did say that you can't play guitar right now. If I can play guitar again, I'd love to link up. Well, I mean, either way, yeah, I'll definitely follow you back on IG. For sure. Dude with Arabic trap attack. I wonder if you used the Arabic scale. You sure did. I hate the Arabic scale. Yeah, watch, you should check out my second YouTube video ever. Actually, I take that back. That's a lie. It was actually my fourth YouTube video ever. But the second YouTube video on my channel, it's a beat, or not a beat. It's a video going over, there was like a handful of producers that were saying the secret scale for TM88 was the Arabic scale. And I disproved that in the video because, yeah, Simo is actually getting right into what I was about to say. The Arabic scale actually creates a whole bunch of dissonance. So what ends up happening in every single one of those tutorials, they'll bring up the Arabic scale and say, oh yeah, this is what TM88 is using, and then they'll start clicking in notes and they'll come up with a melody, and they won't use the notes that make the dissonance. And when you do that, you actually just end up with your regular minor scale. So be wary of videos like that, guys. Like any video that says this is the secret scale or the secret sauce in terms of how so-and-so makes melodies, 10 times out of 10, I've never, ever, ever have seen a video that actually revealed anything that was outside of your regular minor scale or your regular major or harmonic minor scales. Those are same deal with melodic minor. Like melodic minor, you're only really using melodic minor is actually two different scales. So people don't use that properly either. So like it's really popular in jazz. Like basically all it is when you go up in melodic minor, you're using the regular minor scale, but when you play it down, you use different notes to make up a different scale. So yeah, it's all clickbait, Samson. And that's how I started this channel. I wanted to expose all those other channels that were clickbaiting the crap out of you guys, saying, oh, this is it. Same thing with the whole Phrygian mode. Like everyone was like, oh yeah, Metro Boomin uses Phrygian. No one's using that right. First of all, Phrygian is a mode and not a scale. So people keep calling it Phrygian scale. And basically what a mode is, there's 7 different modes, and all it is just starting your melody on a different note in the major scale. So if you start your melody on, I believe it's the 6th note, or actually it might be the 3rd note. Actually, let me just look at my keyboard here. Yeah, so if you start your melody on the 3rd note of a major scale, you end up with the minor scale. And that creates a dark vibe. So that's all they're doing. They're just starting their melodies on, well, that's not what they're doing. That's what you're supposed to do when you use Phrygian. But instead, they're just using FL Studio. They'll select Phrygian mode, and then they'll just make a melody without starting on any specific note. So 9 times out of 10, they're not even using Phrygian. Simo says Locrian is horrible. Basically, you could ignore modes, and I actually ignore scales as well. The way that I play piano, all I do is just pay attention to the pattern. So every scale, major, minor, and harmonic minor, all those scales that are used in all the music that you guys listen to, it's the same pattern of notes, except for harmonic minor, which is why I watched that video. It's really interesting because harmonic minor is the only scale that really has a different pattern of notes. But in terms of major and minor, I don't care. Like, it's still the same pattern of notes. What matters more is what notes you decide to play and what notes you decide not to play. So if you just look at all the white keys, that happens to be 7 different notes. And those 7 different notes, that's the same pattern of notes in every single major and minor scale. The only thing that gives them their different names, like A major, C minor, so on and so forth, it all depends on what note that you start with. So what chord you decide to play first, and that determines the name of it. But the name is not important. What's important is what you play and what you don't play. But anyway, that's the end of that rant. But yeah, this track has a lot of dissonance, so you'll never hear a track like this in the top 40 because you're actually using the true Arabic scale here. And when you use the Arabic scale, everyone else that listens to modern Western music, they're just going to hear this and say, this is out of key. When it's actually in key. It's in, it's in the Arabic scale. So it's in key, but it's not in a key that anyone that listens to modern Western music is used to. So more than likely, most people are not going to like melodies like this. Yeah, that is it. In-Flight Facts, that's my new YouTube name. That's hilarious. Nine Skies with another one. Yeah, I can't finish playing that track. But shout out to you for trying the Arabic scale and actually using it. So good job on that. I'll say that. And the mix sounded pretty clean too. So shout out to that too. Ooh, this is really, really low in volume. Let's turn this up. Okay, so we have a couple issues here. I have my volume maxed out. It sounds like that bass is 1 octave too low. So you want to bring that octave up. Yeah, you want to bring that bass an octave up. Actually, it almost sounds like if you did that, it would be too high. So maybe increase the level of that bass so that we could hear it better. I would switch out that sound that just came in. I like the drone, but since you do have a drone going on throughout the entire beat, you probably want to bring those melodies in a little earlier. But I totally understand that you're going for, the calm vibe. That's the whole point of having a drone in a beat. Maybe turn up the snare a couple dB as well. But I like the choice of snare though. Alright, we'll move into, let's see, we have 3 tracks here. Let's just get through these and then I think we'll be able to do the kit review. Let me turn this back down. Someone says D sharp is perfect for my 808, so that's why D and D sharp are almost the only scales I use. I believe D D is the lowest that EDM producers will go on their tracks. So to still have a solid low end with that sub going where you could hear it and it still sounds, audible, I believe D is the lowest that they'll go. Definitely old school hip hop for sure, but it has like a futurism to it, which is kind of cool. You have a lot of resonance on the sound on the left though, so I would work on the EQ a little bit on that sound. Samson asks, is under D just too low? If you're playing in the key of D, you do have to be careful, or no, you don't have to be careful. If you play in a key that's lower than D, you have to be careful with what notes you choose. So if you go too low, it's going to be hard to hear the bass. It's not going to have the solidness or the punch that a lot of people are looking for. So you can use other keys, but there's going to be less notes for you to choose from that sound good. And that's why people usually will use the key of D as their lowest key that they'll play in. Raphael, question, when setting your 808 time stretching mode, should we use stretch, resample, or auto? I keep mine on either resample or auto is fine. One of those is default. I think auto or resample is default, but yeah, pretty much I just keep it on default. But if you're purposely trying to time stretch your 808, you might have reasons for that. I'm not sure off the top of my head. You would use basically anytime you're purposely trying to stretch a beat or stretch a sound and you're trying to maintain the fundamental frequencies that it originally had, you're going to want to use stretch mode. But the auto and the resample mode for 808s works just fine because it's just a one shot, and yeah, it's always sounded fine to me. So yeah, Samson says I like the piano waviness. Yeah, I just had one issue with the resonant frequency on that sound on the left, so just a little EQ would be good. The separation is much in this beat. Raphael says, I started using Guitar Rig to tune my 808s perfectly. Yeah, there is a tuner in Guitar Rig, isn't there? Yeah. Yep. And another thing that you can start doing, actually, let me show you since I already have FL Studio open. So if we go into my drums here, not my drums, but the drums that I use from other kits. So in my 808 section, you'll see this little cog tool right here. So if I just load this up, it's already in key for me. And the way I did that, basically, if you load up a random 808 here and you find that it's out of key, you could go into this section, put it into whatever key that you'd like just by changing the root note here. And then, you know, basically every 808, when it's a one-shot sample, you want the root note to be C. So you pitch it to C, and then you go to this drop-down menu, and you select Save Channel State As, and save it in your folder, and then you'll have these, and it'll always be in key whenever you drag it into your project. So you don't have to worry about tuning your 808s anymore after you do it that one time. I actually spent days, or a day, where I just tuned all my 808s. I still need to go through some of these and tune them. I don't know why I haven't already. These from ESW, Echo Soundworks, all of his are already tuned to C. So yeah, I think a lot of these are already tuned to C, which is why I haven't gone in and done that. Let's see. Samson says, no, I missed one. MCOG says for sure with the panning. This was before I learned the importance of stereo panning. Samson says, damn, what? Thanks, InFlight. I started doing that, but didn't know the saving it. Yeah. It's a huge time saver for sure. Yeah, I mentioned that in one of my old tutorials. Another one from David Treasure. This one's called Melody. I like the melody. I think it needs to be a little louder though. That's a nice snare. It makes sense for this track. Yeah, normally I like a little more I don't like my snares to be that dry, but because everything in the track is so ambient, it has a nice little contrast to it. Yeah, really nice percussion on this too. Yeah, it sounds like you have like a reversed hit somewhere. I can't really quite point out what it is, but it sounds really nice. Maybe a little more attack on the kick, but yeah, good vibe, good vibe. Simo says the Vox was getting a little annoying. Yeah, it's really high pitched, so I can understand that. Could definitely understand that for sure. Samson, very hip hop. And then we're gonna make a drum loop with Simo's kit. Drums sound nice. I'm questioning the snare a little bit. I'm wondering if it would sound better if it was a clap. Because it sounds like the snare is trying to be a clap, so it's making me think about a clap a lot more, but maybe a clap slash snare would work really well here. But that's just me nitpicking, really. It would be nice to hear some swing on these drums, especially since, you know, you're going for a more hip-hop vibe, I guess. But yeah, some swing would sound really nice on these drums. Do I have a lawyer? And if you do, do you have any recommendations for us? Yeah, Carl Fox. Let me pull up his Twitter. He's on Instagram too. That's who I recommend. He's not my lawyer, but if I were to get a lawyer, he's the guy that I'm going to be working with for sure. Following. Carl, where are you? Yeah, Carl Folks, Esquire. He's been on Producer Grind twice, so definitely check out the entertainment lawyer interviews that they've done. He's been on 2 of them. No, actually, I take that back. He's been on Producer Grind once, and then he's been on DJ Payne 1's interview series that he does for BeatStars or whatever. He was just on there recently again, so check him out for sure. Yeah, Samson, you hear exactly what I'm hearing. It's really robotic right now for hip hop. So, and you have a lot of space to add some swing and motion to those drums. And that's actually what we're going to get into right now. We are going to listen to Simo's drum kit. Close tabs to the right. And actually, I already have it downloaded, so I don't know why I'm looking in there. Let me go to drums, kits, Simo, monotony. So let's go to, I gotta use the bathroom actually. Let me play something for you guys while, actually I guess I'll play one of my old tracks. That's actually what we're gonna be getting into on Monday, where I let you guys roast me on my old tracks. But yeah, actually I have a good idea. I'm going to play this one track that I made a few years ago. So this one isn't super, super old like the other ones are, like over a decade old. This one's more like 5 years old. But let me see. I'm in the wrong folder. Snippets. And will I remember the name of the track? That's a good question. I think it's in collabs. No, that's not it either. Where would I have put that? Maybe my old music folder? Actually, that would make sense if it's an older track. Let's see here. CPU, music. No? Breezy's like, I see you with the Breezy collab folder. Hell yeah. Crap. Maybe I'll play something different if I can't find what I'm looking for. Oh, you know what? It's in here. Under references. So yeah, I was working with a rapper a few years back, and he wanted me to remake a track. Yeah, that would be fun. Let me play the original track. So let me get copyrighted real quick. And then I'll play you the remake. If I could So here's the remake. Royal. Final. I might not have the original for that. I really wish I did, because I want to let you guys hear where it came from originally. Old? Oh, that's really old. Nope. No. I should have just had a track that said Kyle on it, because that was, or Laz. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to have the original, unfortunately. So I'll just have to play the remake. Yeah, just have to play the remake. Oh, here we go. I gotta use the bathroom. Oh, and let me know if you pick out. I want you guys to listen for what I did wrong in this track. All right. Okay, so what do you guys... I have a few comments here that picked some things out. Samson says the hi-hat is way too loud. Yeah, there's way too much high-end in the track. Simo says, I feel like the reverb on the drums get the track a bit dirty. Yep, the reverb bleeds into the other sound. So the reverb is continuous throughout the track. Simo says, I'm using my phone speaker, so I can't really notice anything else. There's a huge delay, or not a huge delay, but a delay on the vocals with the chorus when the choir comes in. So I actually manually tried to chop up the vocals to line things up, and my PPQ settings in FL Studio were way too low. So I didn't know about PPQ back when I was doing that. So, and Samson says there's a lot going on. Yes, indeed, for sure. Way too much going on. But yeah, I really wanted to play the original track so you heard where a lot of those ideas and concepts came from. But unfortunately, I won't be able to do that because I don't think I have it anymore. But yeah, good ears, guys. Good ears. Let's make some drums with this sound kit. Let's listen to some of these 808s. Let me turn up the volume here. Turn up the volume a little bit more. Oh, you know what? Let me, the way I have my browser adjusted, I had the volume turned down in my browser. So let me reset that, and now we should be good to go. There we go. Now I can turn this back down a little bit. Simo says the first 808 is definitely your favorite one. Reminds me a little bit of Sicko Mode, just slightly, not heavily, but it has some elements to it. You got that delay kick with the 808, that's cool. one sounds a little phasey. But it could be a difference in volume too. I like that one a lot, just because there is no, like you said, no initial punch, so it's meant to be layered with a kick. Sounds like a plug walk type deal. That one's dope. Yeah, if you combine that one with the other one, that was like, sounds like sicko mode. If you added more of that into the other one, it would be very sicko mode. Let's go into the kicks. Like I said, I think the snares were the odd ones. Big boom bap kick. Boom bap kick. Yeah, there's something wrong with this one. He said, bro, this hits harder than my dad. Yeah, it's not really hitting at all. Let me drag this in and take a closer look at it. Yeah, there's like a click and then no body to it. So let's use this one to, let's fix it. I think that'll be fun for you guys. So a lot of times the first thing that I'll do, I'll go into the pre-computed effects, turn the clipping on when it's weaker in the body, and then we'll boost this a little bit. So now we have these square waves at the beginning. But that's definitely too much, so we're going to turn this down. And then we're going to adjust this EQ here. And then we're probably going to adjust the overall volume. So we'll go back into the wrench tool, adjust the out knob. Let's go the other direction with the EQ. Yeah, this one's going to be really hard to salvage. So here's a really, actually, here's cut off. And then increase the resonance. Yeah, I would use this to layer on top of another kick. And that's actually what we're going to do here with. So you have this nice deep bodied kick right here. Yeah, the only kicks that I would use as is this one. And this first one. So let's take this one. This one's not bad either. And let's just make a 4 on the floor pattern. And we're going to adjust the volume here in a second. It's a little too much for me. Damn it. Every 8 steps. There we go. So let's go ahead and decrease this tail. And then let's take out the front end of this kick here. Now, anytime you layer two sounds together, especially when there's low end involved, you want to reverse the polarity and pick the one that sounds best. And then we'll get into like adjusting the pitch, which will also put the two sounds into phase and make them more powerful. So this is without it, and this is with it. So that actually made it worse. That actually took it even more out of phase. What's up, Akeem? Good to have you back. So one thing that you could do, you could take one of these sounds and adjust the pitch. Let's bring the pitch down on this one. So already you could hear a lot more power coming out of the middle. And that right there already, that could probably work in a beat, depending on what your 808 and your other sounds sound like. Another trick that I want to show you guys, if you go into these pre-computed effects and adjust this pogo knob, this will adjust the pitch, the down pitch of the, I almost said 808, of the kick. So it's actually going to tighten up the waveform. So let's go ahead and adjust this. And then we might have to change the phase again. Yeah, sure enough, that ruined the phase relationship. So there we go. And then let's just adjust these levels a little bit. And then I might compress those together. Let's just add some saturation. Let me get rid of this. I'm going to EQ it a little bit. And that EQ, that was another thing that I pointed out in my EQ video. So just turning this EQ on because of the filters that we already have here, it ruined the phase relationship. So that's why you would want to use things like a linear phase EQ so that everything stays exactly the way that it was in terms of the phase. But let's mess around with this a little bit more. And then from there, what I might do, pull up Edison, Control E. Let me scroll this down. Let's record this in. Oops. And actually, there we go. Anytime you're doing that, make sure you have 0-point crossing turned on in your snap settings. So snap 0-point crossing, and then that'll snap to the beginnings and ends of your wave shape there. And we're just going to drag this in here. Now we're going to beef this up even more. So now we'll go back into our pre-computed settings. Let's just turn up the volume first of all. This is a really bad looking kick. You could see some phase issues here. So I didn't do a very good job before export. Yeah, I don't think we're going to salvage this. But yeah, your better kicks are definitely this one. And this is your best kick right here for sure. Let's drop that in. Actually, let's just make a new one. New track there. So we have our kick selected. Let's pick out one of these snares. These snares are going to be really hard. Yeah. A lot of baby snares. They almost sound like, since you're meant to layer these, they almost sound like good snares for ghost snares. Just use this for a main one. Put this in the rim shot. Use this for the ghost. Let's cut all this out. And let's make our snare pattern. Wait, 8 steps. Shift, no. Let me just do it like this. Control, or Shift, Control, left or right. Oh, that's still too many snares. Yeah, let me do it my way. So usually I just do that, and then I'll have this loop on bar. Let's beef this up. We'll go with that for now, and then let's turn off this loop. Let's beef this guy up. I'm going to try and play this. I have way too much delay. So we'll have to input that in. Are people still watching? Oh, yeah. People are still watching. Send this over to the piano roll. And let's change our snap settings to, oh, it's already on half beat. Actually, before I lay that in, we need a little bit more rhythm. Let's go to your hi-hats. It's going to be too loud, but I want those at full velocity. Sounded like someone was in my house. Yep. Do you have claps? No, no claps. Let's go to open hats. I don't think this is going to last long enough for a slide. We're going to try it. Change that to a slide note and go into the settings here and adjust this. And oh, I already have it adjusted, so. No, it's not long enough, but I think we might keep that anyway. I try to go for the longer ones so that you have the option. You could always make them shorter, but you can't make them longer, so just something to keep in mind. Keep that like that. I think that's the right spot. Change the volume there. I think I'm going to layer this with the snare. A little more life. In-flight no loop beat. Well, I'm trying to demo his kit here, so the loop is from his kit. This is what I was talking about earlier. I had to rescan all my plugins, and it looks like not all of them are here still. Damn it. That really sucks. That really sucks. Why would RC... I must have that in a different location. I do remember that. Yeah. Let's mess with RX 950. I wonder what we could do with some extra tremolo. This might not work out. Hear my computer struggling now. That just let the drums breathe so much better. this on loop. Yeah, I'm noticing you have loop points on a lot of your sounds. Play this up here first. up, Vaughn? Okay, so now that we hear the melody with the bass, you could definitely tell that this kick absolutely needs to be changed out. So let's keep the pattern that we have and let's find a different kick. So this is the one that we used that was by itself. Another option that we have is just to turn it up. So okay, so we're also clipping the track, so right here we're going to adjust that. And then we'll go into this area right here. We're going to add a little bit of compression with a fruity limiter. And then we're going to add Maximus. Now that we have all that tamed. Maximus. Man, yeah, I got to remind myself to rescan for RC20. I feel like that would have been fire on this melody. I think this one's my priest. Nope, not that one. And to get it ready for streaming, gotta do your you lean loudness. I got The Simpsons playing on this other channel. It's freaking hilarious. We're gonna test our levels here and then we'll adjust. Already I can tell you that this needs to go down to negative 1.3 or so. And let's see where our levels are at. So we're at negative 14, negative 12 LUFS, and negative 1.9 under true peak. So we could actually turn this all the way back up, and we can make this even louder if we wanted to. Why is the master peaking? That's interesting. Okay, actually, this brings up a really good point. So people used to question why I have a master channel after my track that I master, and this is exactly why. So now you could see, even though you're not peaking on your master, or clipping, I should say, clipping on your master, you actually might be clipping. And this is a way to actually see that. So we can see that we're clipping through this channel after our Maximus plugin, even though it says that we're not clipping here. And it's not because of Unlean loudness meter. So you know what? It's because all of our tracks are, we have some tracks that are routed. Yeah, this kick. So yeah, so that's a way to prevent accidentally exporting a track before it's actually ready. So because of that, we were able to catch that this kick isn't routed to the drum track. So let me route this to the drum track. So that's like one of the best safety precautions that you could possibly have, so that you don't make mistakes like that. And I think that fixed it. No, we have, I think everything else is routed. This one. Route this there to, we'll route that to snare. And I think that's all of them. Yes, sir. Okay, now let's take a look at our meters here. I'm going to turn this back on. Okay, so let's go into Maximus. Bring this back down to 1.3 like I thought it was going to need to be. Oh, 1.2. Let's see what happens. Crank it up a little bit. We hit -1. So yeah, these are really healthy levels. We're about right around -14 still, -11 at momentary. Sometimes I'll push this. The loudest I'll ever push anything is like -10 and then maybe -8 down here. So let's just listen to what we come up with just by pushing the track a little bit. that was bothering me. Yep, so that's how I would use your kit, basically. So yeah, I think we covered the issues with just the snares being a little too thin, some of the kicks not really working too well. That one kick that we ended up using definitely worked out pretty fine just by turning up the volume. And then we just beefed up the 808 a little bit with some distortion. And then kind of what I pointed out earlier, picking the right notes when we were talking about different keys. Originally these were, it was all in the same key, but because we were playing these notes lower, they were a little too low. Really just this note right here got too low. So just pitching those up. Another option you would have, you could just highlight these and you could keep these down here. I don't think I'm gonna like the pattern though. So yeah, you have options there. So it was really just this one note that was too low. Another thing that you could do, you could go in here and add slides. We didn't do anything to the hi-hats. It's just a basic hi-hat pattern. So we can go in there, go a little crazy with the hi-hat rolls and whatnot. We don't have any rolls in the track. So, but yeah, I definitely like these melodies. Let's go through some of the other melodies. Let's delete that. And let's just replace it. Obviously, the 808's not going to work. Let me mute that. I wasn't really feeling that melody, though. Sounds like it's in an interesting key. We have an extra kick. I just now noticed that. No? Where is that extra kick coming from? Right here. Switch that up. That's dope. Oh, that didn't go into, let me stretch that. Should already be in stretch mode. It's an extra something. This is going to play really fast. So that's when you go in here and it's on resample, so you just switch to stretch to keep the original key. Yeah, too long to be stretched that much for sure. I can't get these can't get those on tempo. And the last one. Yeah, my favorites are the first and the third one. I'm going to go back to the third one. What's up, inmate? Does this type of beat work better for replacements that I just made opposed to all of my other content? I'll check it out here in a second. David Treasure says he'll check out the kit tomorrow. And then right here I would halftime it. Let's just throw that on just to take a listen. I don't know what just happened. Oh, well, that's the end of that. I'm sure it's saved. The long one has time signature, and the other one is made in 130 BPM, I think. You're probably correct. Back up. I'm just gonna load this back in real quick. That's not it. It's a different project. Oh no, this is it. All right, let's try halftime again with that melody. Oh, jeez. Where are we? Drums, kits, Simo, loops. Oh, you have MIDIs in here too. Wrong one. And then we'll automate that. Make unique. This is why automation in FL Studio gets a bad name. Because it's bad. And I believe we have another beat submission, so let's get into that, and then we will call it a day. I guess I'll save this. I don't think I'm ever really going to turn this into a full beat or anything, but might as well just save it. Let's save it in... let's save it in live. Simo. All right. Beat critique. Beat critique. So yeah, we will be back Monday for a very special edition of Beat Critique where we go over the beats that I made almost 2 decades ago. And some songs too, so you guys can make fun of my voice. Simo says, if you tell me how I did the tone in the extras folder. You did say something about the extras folder. What did you say about the extras folder? Inmate said he sent it in under general. Let me see. Extras. That's cool, I guess. It's definitely just a tone. Yeah, I don't know. I can't think of where I would put that in. Maybe, crap. I wish I left that open. I'm going to try and play that tone. Oh, that's, yeah. Yeah, this is pretty dope. Again, you're doing something where all of your sounds are looping. I don't know why. Definitely needs a high pass. Yeah, it sounds good in this low end right here. Some harmonic minor for you. Yeah, it sounds good when you actually work with it versus in the browser. All right, Mikey, Remember the Night. And you're asking if this is more commercially viable? Let's listen. I think the 808 just went out of key there. Yeah, the 808's out of key. Just one note. Or maybe it's not out of key, but like because of the pitch bend in it, it starts out of key. Yeah, I would say, yeah, you definitely did a good job in terms of like leaving space for the rapper. I would probably turn down those synths though; they're really loud. But something about the sound selection, it still sounds a little dated. Yeah, I'd say just the overall style of the beat sounds like an older style beat. Yeah, I'd say that because you're focusing so much on that melody and that synth sound is so big, it's taking away a lot of potential that you could have done if that sound was smaller and then you added some counter melodies to it. So, yeah, I would say in this case, I know you're trying to leave room for the artist, but you still can, if you just turn down that sound, make it smaller, maybe switch out the sound because it does sound dated, and then add some counter melodies to that, but something really light, and you might have something that sounds more modern. You just deleted it. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I've deleted more beats than I've kept. So, yeah, I mean, honestly, my advice for anyone that's, trying to improve at a rapid rate, don't focus so much on trying to make a beat good. Focus more on creating quantity so that you come up with a lot more ideas over a short period of time, and eventually you'll start finding things that work. And from your encyclopedia of beats that you've done, you'll have your own style. You'll have things that you go to in terms of making a beat work. But trying to polish a beat that, maybe the concept just isn't right from the get-go, that can be a waste of time, to be completely honest. So I really encourage people that are trying to improve really fast to make more music rather than focus on one song or one track. Yeah, Simo says 808 is weird. It's Avidus says 25-50 cents detuned. I have $5 headphones and can't really tell what it really sounds like. Yeah, $5 headphones are probably going to cause more issues than anything, for sure. The headphones that I use are like $80, but they used to be more expensive. But you can get them for like $80 on Amazon. So just save up for a month or two and pick these up if you have to use headphones. Someone says I finish all my beats even if they're bad. I'm not saying don't finish your beats. I'm saying don't spend a lot of time trying to perfect them. Like a finished beat, that can mean anything, really. Inmate says he sent something better. Simo says it helps me to practice. At the stage that you're at, Simo, you should be focusing more on the quality. Versus quantity. Yeah, this is much better. leveling's much better. Sound selection is much, much better. That the ARP that just came in is very Stranger Things, like 80s. It's very 80s, but the rest of the track sounded really modern, so that kind of took away from it in terms of the vibe. But I love the ARP pattern. Yeah, those headphones are making you turn up these high frequencies that are way too bright. That flute that just came in, I like it, but yeah, it has too much of the highs in it. So just a little filter would be good. Yeah, this sounds nice and cinematic, very modern. Simo says, I'll probably delete a lot of my beats on IG when I can afford BeatStars. Yeah, that was much, much better. But yeah, the ARP just sounds a little 80s for sure, while the rest of the track doesn't. So it kind of changes the vibe for sure. But I love the track though. Yeah, I'm about to go heavy in quantity here in a second because, yeah, last year in February, I believe, is when I did my 30-day beat challenge. So I'm about to do the same thing again in February, I believe. But instead of one beat a day for 30 days, I'm going to double it. I think I'm going to do 2 beats a day for 30 days. Maybe I'll do 2 beats a day for 20 days. No, I think I need to do, you know what I will do? I'll promise myself to do 2 beats a day for 2 weeks. So that'll still be 30 beats in, yeah, basically my challenge will be 30 beats in 2 weeks. And then if I feel like it, I'll double that, and I'll do an entire 30-day beat challenge where I do 2 beats. Simo says I'm crazy. Well, some of those beats, because I have, I think half of those beats will use my my kit, my loops in my kit. So I'll do 1 beat with one of my loops and 1 beat from scratch. Simo says, when audio drivers worked, I used to make like 4 beats in 1 day and then rest 2 or 3 days. The hardest that I ever went, I told you guys how I had a Phantom X where I would make my own, pretty much make the beat in the Phantom, and then I would export my own samples into FL Studio, and then I would add drums with FL. When I was doing that, I would make, no lie, no less than 20 beats a day. 20 beats a day. So I was really obsessed, and I could crank out beats really fast. But ever since I got rid of my Phantom, I've never come close to making 20 beats a day. And the reason being, like, when you have a workstation, you're limited to how many sounds that exist inside of a workstation. And on top of that, it gives you some creativity or the drive to be creative in terms of layering and synthesizing. So that's kind of where I started my whole synthesis process. But as soon as I jumped fully into FL Studio and started getting plugins and all these different sounds, now I feel like I don't have, well, not now. Now I'm a lot better at it. But when I started doing that, I didn't have go-to sounds. So it was hard for me to make beats that I really felt like, oh, this is it. But in my Phantom, I could make 20 tracks and all of them were like, oh yeah, I should send this to the label. So that's why I was so connected with the labels back then. Craig Beats says, and on top of that, a lot of the hit songs that people were listening to in the early 2000s, those were coming out of phantoms and tritons and motifs. And yeah, so that was the sound back then. And the fact that I actually owned a $2,000 to $3,000 workstation that generated those sounds, it was really easy to make hits. Craig says, I'm thinking about scheduling several days a week to just make loops and several days to make beats. That's a great strategy. I think I'd get less bored that way. I get bored when I'm working on the same beat all day long. Yeah, that's definitely a great strategy. And actually, that's pretty much what I did. So in my Phantom, I would make, 20 beats, but it was just the music. None of those had drums on it. And then I would export all of those, and then I'd make, just do the drums for all those beats. So it was like it was always a two-step process. So yeah, it never felt monotony. Yeah, Vitus, I can't wait to get all the stuff that I need to get out of the way so that I could start buying extra stuff just for my own personal wants. But yeah, the new Phantom is definitely on my list. Like, I can't wait to get the new Phantom. I'm definitely going to own that thing for sure. I think that's going to help set me apart yet again, where I have sounds that no one else is using. But yeah, I listened to a lot of demos of the new Phantom, and my God, that thing it's the future. It's the future. Like, screw Omnisphere, screw every plugin, all the plugins. There are no plugins that compare to the Phantom right now. There are no plugins. But yeah, Roland is definitely, they've always been my favorite company for hip hop production. But yeah, that's how I started making trap style beats before trap was even a thing. Like, that's really where trap came from, those Roland sounds. But yeah, you had guys like Zaytoven really going heavy in the workstations. And that's where trap came from, guys. It didn't come from no plugin. Simo says, I would like to get analog stuff so that I can get my services apart too. Avita says, don't spill your sauce. Oh my gosh. I'm never worried about... Have you seen my channel? Do you think I'm worried about spilling sauce? I'm out here filling buckets of sauce for people. I don't ever care about someone knowing exactly what I use or how I use it. I'm still going to come up with better music, and I'm still going to grind harder. That's just the way it is. That is just the way it is. I don't care if every single person knows my business strategy. I'm me, and you guys are you. So you guys take it, do what you want with it, and hopefully y'all can, find a way to flex harder than I'm flexing. That's really what I want more than anything. I already know that I'm going to be successful. I already am successful, but I want you guys to find your own way to be successful as well. And it would make me feel honored if someone comes up that I don't even know. They don't even, comment on my videos or anything. And then one day I'm listening on the radio or on a streaming service. I'm like, man, this guy's fire. And then I randomly see this guy in an interview and he's like, yeah, I came up because of Ian's tutorials on InflightMuzik. That's really a goal of mine, where one of the biggest artists or the biggest producers in the world says, oh, it's a lot to do with the sauce that I give out. And I know you're just messing around, Avitus, but Simo says, I have stomach issues because of all the sauce. That's hilarious. Simo says, I'm Mexican, can't even take that much sauce. Craig Beats, most people don't apply what they learning. Exactly, Craig. Exactly. I said this on I have a personal channel where, I was giving away like all my YouTube strategies. I have so many more strategies. Like, I really want to update that channel, but, like in one of the videos, like in the intro, I was like, I can't believe that I'm actually telling you guys this, but I realize that none of you are really going to do any of this anyway. Like, I'll tell you exactly what it is that I'm doing to be successful, but I know literally almost every single person that watches this video isn't going to do it. They're just not going to do it. Takes time and dedication to be successful at anything. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You could have all the information in the world, but the execution is what matters more than anything. The execution. I just have more time in my day than most people. Like, you know, Simo was like, yeah, I'm driving home from, like, half the people in the live today were driving home from work when I went live. Meanwhile, I had spent the whole day, like, I had a lot of issues today, but I do this full time. This is my job. This is what I do all day. This is what I do all day. So I just make tutorials, I sell beats, and now I'm starting to finally work with some artists that I feel like can compete with what's out there. So, but yeah, I think I think we're going to call it. With that being said, let me just double check. Okay, we have one more track from Nine Skies, and then we're going to end it with this one. Some kind of groove. Melody's interesting. I really badly want to give you one of my synth basses. Go to my Instagram and download my free synth bass pack and replace this synth bass with any of those, and this beat would be straight and like ready to go for Stranger Things, I feel like. Yeah, this totally sounds like a transition song where, like, yeah, this totally sounds like a transition song. Like, I could literally picture me watching Netflix and hearing this in the background of a Stranger Things episode. That sound that just came in sounds like when it goes up in pitch, it's out of key. And it has like this weird resonance to it. So it needs to be EQ'd a little bit. Yeah, I was afraid you're probably going to need some help on those drums. Sure enough, yeah, you definitely still have the 80s vibe going, but yeah, there's some free kits out there where you could download some 80s drums for sure. Yeah. Speaking of Roland, yeah, just download a TR 808 pack. .808 or 909s. My favorite pack is I love the 606s. No one really talks about 606s, but those are my favorite drums of all time. The Weeknd used a lot of 606s, and I forget the name of his first albums, but the trilogy collection that he had. He used mainly Roland 606s. Simo says he has 707s. I'm not as familiar with 707s. I mean, I've had them before, but I've always been into the 606s and the 808s. Maybe a little filter on that, on the wah-wahs, on the modulated synth there. Yeah, darken that up a little bit. Maybe some slight distortion would help it too. Simo says, it's awesome how much engagement you have with only 6 viewers. Yeah, it's gonna be tough on Monday. I could already see. I already know it. Boy, yeah, me too. I'm really surprised we still have 7 people in here. Yeah, as soon as we did the kit review and I stopped talking and just made a beat, I was like, oh, everyone's going to be gone when I look at this screen. I look back and everyone was still here from when I started. I was like, that's crazy. Because I felt like I was boring the hell out of you guys, for real, for real. And I probably was. You guys are just being nice. Cool, man. Yeah. So yeah, the difference between 606s, 707s, 808s, 909s. I mean, everyone's familiar with the 808s, but I already talked about the 606s. They're a lot grungier, darker. They sound more realistic than the other collection of drums. The 909s are really, really electronic, a little too electronic for my taste. But that's why you hear a lot of 909s in pop music. And then 808s, you'll hear the concept of 808s used nowadays. But true 808s are not used in trap, contrary to popular belief. Those aren't real 808s. Simo says, that's how you know people like you. If you stop making what you're not supposed to, because if you stop making what you're not supposed to, because it's a critique and people still... Oh, yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, if I stop critiquing and I do something totally different, yeah, I guess that does mean something. That being said, I wanted to make sure that I changed the title of the thumbnail and all that on the first episode when we launch on the other channel. But yeah, hopefully I can get some... yeah, Vita says he only likes the snare and the 909s. Yeah, me too. Me too, brother. Yeah, I can't do that kick or the hats or anything like that. The snare is the closest thing. They have a variety of snares in there. They have a variety of snares in there that work for sure. Yeah, but I'm definitely going to need at least one moderator on the first day, I think. But hey, do me a favor and tweet Classy Beats. Let me type that in. What the hell? Let me exit out of that. If any of you guys know some free flutes that are good, tweet him some free flutes. Where should I go and download a kit? I don't know. I don't know where. I would just type TR Roland drum kits. Yeah, here we go. 227 free drum samples from the Roland 808. 909 free samples. Roland TR 909 wave drum kit. Yeah, they're all over the place. 505. Yeah, just type in whatever one you're looking for, and then, yeah, it'll pop up. It might be hard to find a 606, though. Nope. It was easy. So, yeah. Simo says he has some, but they're not free. Yeah, but there are plenty of free ones out here. Plenty of free ones out here. Yeah, back when I started producing, I got a huge drum pack. I don't know if it was illegal or not. I downloaded it for free from somebody who probably got them illegally, but they had every electric drum kit ever made. It was gigs and gigs of drums. Drum kits that I never even heard of. But yeah, I actually ended up deleting it. Because it was like way too much space on my computer, and I only liked the 606s. Bad tuna salad. What's up, Porter? Thanks for the sub. Deco says, you're going to be security to kick people out. Simo says it's not going to be easy. You're talking. Yeah, it was a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. Because it's one of the more rare drum kits for sure. You're catching me right at the end. I actually streamed twice today because of we had an emergency with one of my friends. He called me with a crazy ass story. He basically got his ass kicked with a gun. He got pistol whipped with at his house, and now he can't go back to his house. It was his roommate, and yeah, he has like medical bills out the ass right now, like thousands of dollars in dental work, and he just lost one of his jobs, and since he can't go back to his apartment, he needed money for a hotel room, so I had to hook him up with that. I signed up for Zelly. I never heard of it before, but it let me send money like instantly, so I'm gonna hold on to that app. But yeah. Well, his roommate is friends with some Bloods, and there's a lot of Bloods out in Virginia. Apparently a lot of Crips out there too, but more Bloods than Crips. And I guess he lost some money, or he was missing some money, and he blamed it on my friend, and they got into it, and yeah, he's missing all of his front teeth. Like, he sounded drunk on the phone because of the teeth that he was missing. Like, he was slurring everything. Like, yeah, you could barely understand what he was saying. But yeah, that's yeah, crazy ass story on top of some craziness that was already going down. Vita says gang spreading. Yeah, they were really big when I was living in Virginia. I actually worked with some. I used to work at a place called Ryan's Steakhouse. It's like a buffet. I don't know if you guys know about Ryan's. I know Porter knows Ryan's. But yeah, I've worked with quite a few gang members coming up, but they're all chill though. Like, I never met like a gang member that was like, you know, the cliche gang member, you know? Like, I never met a gang member that I was afraid of. Let me say that. Simo says that's super crazy why he was living with a gang member though. Well, he's going through some tough times right now. Like, yeah, he got an apartment with his baby mama, and then they broke up, so he got kicked out of that. Yeah. Yeah. He's going through some tough times. And like I said, he just lost one of his jobs. So, yeah. Freaking real life. Real life shit. So, a gang member that isn't like a gang member, that's hilarious. Well, I mean, there's a lot of stereotypes out there too, you know? Like, if I ever met a gang member out in New York City or out in LA or Compton, you know, either of the coasts, that's when I'd be more worried about gang members that are actually violent. Violent for no, you know, no good reason, you know? I mean, I'm sure they have their reasons, product of their environment, but actually, one of the rappers that I worked with during that era where I had my Phantom, he was a former gang member from, was he from Compton? Well, he was from California. He was from California. But he was like a born again Christian by the time I met him and all this and that. So he had changed by the time that I met him. Yeah, Porter, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah. Because there's like so many stereotypes out there when it comes to just the word gang, you know? But, and then you see guys with like leather jackets and big old beards and chains, and you're like, oh, that's a really tough guy. I mean, yeah, I mean, they probably are tough guys, but not many of them are violent for no reason, you know? Violent to the point where like you need to watch over your shoulder because you don't know what's about to happen. I mean, most of these are just ordinary people that happen to be in a gang. But yeah, I think we're gonna call it. I'll be back Monday, and yeah, Monday's stream is gonna be crazy because yeah, we're gonna be listening to the music that I made when I was much younger. And I think another thing, yeah, Deco, I agree. Nowadays, being in a gang is kind of a joke, for sure. Not only are we going to listen to my old beats, but we are also going to watch the very first YouTube video that I ever made on my very first channel. I only had one other channel. This was before BusyWorks Beats existed, so people talk about how so-and-so or so-and-so were the first people to make beat videos. Really, the first person ever that I can recall was Ryan Leslie. And even his video, I want to say, came after mine. So when I dropped my video, it was how I taught myself piano. And that actually did really well for not having, you know, any knowledge about titles, not worrying about a thumbnail, no tags, not a real description, no keywords, nothing like that. And I didn't know, you know, I never checked the video, but like just out of the blue, I decided to look it up and it had tens of thousands of views. And I was like, okay, well, I guess I should have kept doing this, but it is what it is. Avita says, I don't think it's a joke. Back then, kids were throwing hands. Now it's all shooting. Yeah. I mean, especially in Chicago. It's like one of the deadliest cities of all time. Similarly, I'm sure you know quite a bit about that too, being from Mexico. Mexico's no joke, especially at the border. Actually, those are probably the worst stories that I've ever heard in terms of gang violence. I watch Joe Rogan's podcast, and he had a former, I don't know, I think it was a CIA agent that did a lot of work along the borders in terms of drug trafficking and things like that. He had like the worst stories that I've ever even created in my mind. Like, getting rid of, kind of like the Breaking Bad thing where people are getting chopped up and getting dissolved in acid and shit. Like real life shit. Yeah, yeah. Simo says in Mexico there's like 4 or 5 of the most dangerous cities in the world. Exactly. Said your grandparents got robbed last week, and the big boss of the cartel is now looking for them because they have money. That's so crazy. Yeah, I'll end this with my story in Central America. I mentioned before that I've lived in more cities than I can keep track of anymore, like close to 24 now. But when I was about 3 or 4 years old, I lived in Panama, the country. And I remember my dad telling my mom not to ever stop the car when we go into a particular part of town. And he was saying that people will like do anything to get you to stop the car to go in. Yeah, exactly. Military brat. And then my dad kept up the tradition after he retired. So we kept on moving. It was crazy. And then in college, I kept on moving. So, but yeah, he said that they would do anything and everything to get you to stop the car. So I'm in the back seat of my car, or of my mom's car, and she has her friend, and someone throws a rock at the back of the window. And I don't think it cracked the windshield or anything, but my mom stops the car, and as soon as the car came to a complete stop, she didn't even have time to get out of the car or look around or anything. Just slowed down the car just enough to where as soon as it stopped, the passenger side door opened and these guys yanked my mom's friend out of the car. And my mom says, "Stay right here and don't turn around." And she gets out of the car too, like on her own. And I was like, what the hell? And I was too scared to I wanted to turn around so bad to see what was going on, but I was too scared. So I just sat there looking forward. And it was probably I don't have a good sense of how long it took or how much time passed, but my mom and her friend eventually came rushing back to the car. They weren't hurt or anything, but they did take my mom's friend's purse. So, yeah. Which is really unlucky because, how often do you have your purse, in your lap or anything like that while you're usually it's, on the floor or something, but yeah, they grabbed everything. So, yeah, we learned the hard way. Simo says, here, if you stop the car and park, your tires will disappear. Yeah, Mexico is definitely a whole nother level. Yeah, freaking Central America in general. Yeah, I wouldn't trust it. The favelas in Brazil, yeah, that's a crazy dangerous place too. The police have just given up. And then in Mexico, the police are corrupt, so you don't even know who to trust. And I'm sure it depends on the city too. Depends what city you're in. And then from there, it probably depends on the neighborhood. Yeah, Chile is crazy too. Military's going nuts. Yeah. Yeah, the world is a very, very dangerous place, for sure. So I definitely feel lucky to be in the United States. And at the same time, I feel lucky to have seen as much of the world as I have. I've been in parts of Asia. I've been in Central America. I still want to see a lot more. I've lived in quite a few of the United States. Most of the states are boring as hell compared to the rest of the world. So, yeah, the United States is a really fortunate place to be born into, for sure. But, yeah. Simo says, yeah, $25 can fix any cop problems. That's crazy. That's crazy. Man, I hate that more and more people are coming into the live now right when I'm ending it. But yeah, I do have to call it because I have some more sounds that I gotta adjust for my kit, and then tomorrow I have to go ham on finishing my loops, and then either Monday or Wednesday the kit will be on sale. So my first product ever. Like, I've given out free stuff to you guys for a year and 1 month. So hopefully, in return, people are actually interested in getting a premium product that I spent a lot more time on than the free stuff that I've given out. I think the free stuff that I've given out has definitely been valuable. Like, I wish that I had that type of free stuff when I was coming up, but the kit that I'm dropping now, I feel like it's above and beyond what's out there compared to everyone else's products. So, and hopefully from there I can continue that tradition and just continually drop products that are better than everyone else's. And from there, hopefully you guys just make better music. But yeah, I will see you guys Monday. Again, we do this every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 5 p.m. United States Eastern Time. And I will see you guys next week. Y'all have a good weekend. I appreciate you, Craig. Thank you, man.